Welcome friends to Farm Fresh Designs 59. In today's video, I am so excited to be sharing with you a laser cutting and engraving machine that a company called Creality sent to me. It's called the Falcon 2 Pro and it's 22 watts and it is an absolutely amazing machine. So this is the design that I'm cutting out today to share with you on the 3 projects that I made. So I want to share with you all about this machine. So my husband actually built me this table to put it on, and I'm using it on the inside in my craft room because the internet is not strong enough out in the garage where maybe some other people would use it at. But Creality takes care of all that if you do use it on the inside. So it comes with this enclosed laser. So if you see this red cover, that is the protection from that laser. So you don't actually have to use glasses to protect your eyes. However, they do provide them with you if you're just more comfortable wearing like those protective glasses. But that red cover keeps you from having to use that. So it has a really bigger output power of 22 watts. So it can actually cut up to like 15 millimeter basswood board. It can cut acrylic and it can even cut thin metal. It can run really quick and it can engrave and it can also cut even at the same time. It has like a built-in top camera so that it's really good at accuracy and just doing the full frame. And it's really good with directing the airflow out of the machine. And actually, with me using it on the inside, it has this long duct, kind of like on a dryer, that I just put outside of my window. And then, that airflow goes outside. So it makes it really easy to also use it on the inside of the home. Now, on this particular video, you're not going to see me engraving, but I will try to do that on my next video when I show you more about it. And I'm excited about all the possibilities that I have with this machine because you can go on and you can get different graphics. And today, the graphics that I'm using are just some pieces that I will use to embellish my projects today. But when you can go on Etsy or any other design space, you can just come up with a gazillion designs that you can cut and engrave with this machine. And I have really been looking for all sorts of neat projects to come up with, as well as my grandchildren have been deciding what they want Grammy to make with them for this machine. So if you are someone that sets up at craft shows, or even if you're someone like me who's thinking ahead, thinking, oh my goodness, this would be so much fun to make some ornaments for all of the kids in my grandson and my granddaughter's class for Christmas, or making things for their teachers, it is just such a really cool machine. And I'm going to leave a coupon code in the description box below for you to get 10% off of this machine. And they have really great customer support. And they're just so easy to work with. So I'm going to show you 3 projects that I have made with just this one cut from this 3 millimeter basswood board. And they actually send some wood with it for you to kind of get started on. And I bought my basswood from Amazon. Now, not only do they have great customer support, but there's actually a Facebook group that's set up just for people who use this machine. And you can ask all sorts of questions. And believe me, I have. Because, remember, I'm going to be turning 65 and I'm not always good with technology. But this Facebook group has been so sweet to answer just the simplest questions. And so that is an extra bonus with this machine. Now, the embellishments that I'm going to be using on this thrifted frame that I got I actually could have isolated that particular design and added it to just one sheet of wood to cut it out. But at the time, that was when I was first beginning to use the machine, and I wasn't quite as savvy, and I've learned so much about it. So I actually cut out these designs 4 different times because I wanted 4 of these designs to put in the corner of this frame. And I have to actually give a shout out to my husband because when I was looking at it and looking at this particular design, he told me, he said, well, why don't you put one in every corner? So I want to thank him for telling me that. Of course, now he's not going to be watching this video, but still, I did want to give him credit for it. And I'm putting it down with Titebond Thick and Quick. So I'm going on and putting these embellishments on first because I'm going to be painting it later, and I just thought it would be easier. So this piece of decoupage paper comes from Decoupage Central, and I'll make sure to share the link in the description box below. But if this particular design of pumpkins is not really your style, John L. at Decoupage Central offers a lot of different pumpkin designs and fall designs. So actually all I did was I just cut it and slid it inside of that picture frame. I didn't actually glue it down. Now this particular color of paint is a Dixie Belle paint. And it's actually an older bottle of paint. It's called Dixie Belle Cashmere, and it's a fall color, and it's actually came out a couple years ago. And the only reason that I bought it was because, well, it was on sale. But I really like the color, so it's kind of a yellowy, creamy color. I tried using different colors with it, and this one just turned out to be the best one. And so I want to make sure that those embellishments kind of stand out just a little bit. So I just use Dixie Belle Brown Wax on that, just to kind of make them stand out just a little bit more. And here's my first project with those little laser cut pieces on either corner, and then that beautiful decoupage paper. So what do you think? And do you have a laser cutting machine? Or are you someone that likes to go to Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby and buy those little laser cuts, as you're doing your projects, either in the fall or Christmas or even in the spring, Easter, all sorts of different occasions. Now, this next piece might be sort of unexpected, but this is just a journal, one of those little composition books that you'll get, whether you get them at Dollar Tree or Walmart or wherever. And this was something that actually I took out of my granddaughter's stash that she had not used. And because I need to get rid of that design, the first thing I do is I paint it with just Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, just to kind of cover up those designs. And then after that dries, and it actually took a couple coats, then I went back and I used Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint in the color Fluff, which is sort of a off-white color. And I don't have very much of it left, but I wanted to go ahead and use that up. And this is another piece of decoupage paper from Decoupage Central. Now, she carries different name brands of decoupage paper, and this one is called Milky Valley. And I love the colors in this paper. I just think it's so, so pretty. Now, normally I tear my paper and I tear off those edges so it looks a little bit more organic. But it's going to be going on this book that has a lot of straight edges. And because it's paper, and I don't really want to use sandpaper to kind of like sand off those little raw edges, I just go ahead and cut it. And I cut it the size that I need. And I start putting down Mod Podge up at the top. And then I just work my way down all of the way. And that's just a little piece of cellophane wrap that I used to kind of, pull out any sort of wrinkles. But you're going to find with decoupage paper, you're not going to have many wrinkles at all like you would if you use a napkin. So this is another design from that just one piece of wood that I cut that came in that particular graphic. But, you remember that I said I cut it out 4 different times because that was when I was just beginning to use the machine. So there's 2 cuts of these. And so I'm just going to go ahead and paint those now before I add them to that journal. Now, there's a lot of detail on it, so it does take a pretty good while. And I'm painting that also with the Dixie Belle fluff because I want it to match up really good. Because I did not use decoupage paper on the back side of this journal. And this would be a great journal if you wanted to make it for your child's teacher, or this would make a great journal to use, you know, when you're writing sermon notes, or it could be great for your prayer journal. And I start BSF in the fall, and so this will be a good journal, you know, as I'm taking notes for my Bible study each week. And I found these particular embellishment graphics off of Etsy, and I'll make sure to share that in the description box below where I found that. So because I don't want to use sandpaper to trim it off, because it is that heavy cardboard, and I think it would just make a mess, then I just cut it off. And then I go back after it's all finished, and I put a little bit of Mod Podge around the edge of that journal, just so that those little teeny raw edges at the end will be glued down. And now I'm ready to glue on those embellishments. And I do not glue it down really close to the part where it will open up. So there's going to be that little space, kind of like on the spine of a book, where that different paper or fabric will cover up, go around the edge of the book, and that's where I put it. And I put that on with Titebond Thick and Quick as well. And because that edge and that paper, you know, is sort of rounded right there toward the back, then I just set something heavy on top of it so that I can make sure that it glues down and it doesn't pull up at all. Now, because I like something extra, then I just pull out my little drawer that has all these different little paper flowers on it, and I just put that up in the top right-hand corner. And I just think it turned out so pretty. And so I think I'm going to be keeping this one because I love all of these colors, and I think they're perfect for the fall. So what do you think? And do you like to use journals for all sorts of different projects and different things at home? Now, I can't really give you a source for these flowers because I just kind of buy different ones, and I usually get them at Hobby Lobby, and I just kind of dump them all into this little drawer that I have so that I can kind of pull out what I want. But if you use those solar wood flowers, that's something you could use as well. Now, my last piece is just a cutting board that I thrifted, and this is my last wood cutout that I'm going to be using today, and I glue it down at the bottom before I actually start to paint it. And I paint it with one of my favorite colors, and it's the Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. And once again, I like to go ahead and paint it so that, glue the embellishment down before I paint it because I just think it's easier. Plus, because it's wood, it's easier to glue wood to wood instead of wood to a painted surface. And this is a transfer that I got from the IOD, I think it's called Bracant. And after I put a couple coats of paint on it, then I I sprayed it with Rust-Oleum Clear Sealer before I put that transfer down. Now, this particular transfer comes from Timeless Designs, and I will share that in the description box below, and they only sell their transfers on Amazon. So I kind of tucked that up there in the corner, and this is a bow that I already had made up. I used it on something else, and I know it's super frilly, and it might not be you, but if you've watched my channel before, you know that I'm a frilly, frou-frou kind of girl. And this was a bow that I already had made up, and it was on something else. And so I just decided I'd pull it off, and I would glue it to the top of this one. And this one is just like a little shelf sitter that you might put up on your kitchen counter or on a bookshelf in your kitchen. And I just think it turned out so sweet. Now, initially, I had put white wax on that little embellishment down at the bottom, but then I didn't like it. So I went back and I painted it with the moss green. So friends, we are at the end of the video today. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed me showing you how to use this new machine. And I'm so excited about it. So once again, there's going to be a coupon code in the description box below if you want to order one, and you'll get 10% off. But in the comments below, let me know which project was your favorite, and is this a machine that you would be interested in? But this is going to be great, especially when it comes to Christmas and all of the things that you can make with it. And friends, thanks to you, I am almost at 9,000 subscribers in just a little over a year. So I want to thank you so much for your support in this last year, for subscribing to my channel. So if you enjoyed the video today, make sure to like it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to become part of our family. And I will see you in my next video.